Hello, ladies and
Welcome back.
gentlemen. Another episode. Yes, welcome back. The Chi-Town Sports Podcast. I'm joined with Ben per usual. This is Ben's 31 through 60th, aka the second round of his NBA draft prospects, and Ben's gonna tell us some.
All right. So Brad did this earlier. Here's mine. My 31st player is Trey Jones. He could have gone top 30 for me. I just outside. I love Trey Jones. He showed his NBA ability by outplaying Cole Anthony in the classic Duke North Carolina game this year, and averaged 16 and 6. He's one of the smartest players in the draft, and he's a guy that coaches should be able to trust at the next level. The only reason he's not top first round for me is because he's not that athletic and he's not a great shooter, but he's still going to be a good backup point guard in the NBA, I think. All right. Let's see. 32, Xavier Tillman, Michigan State center. He was Cassius Winston's partner in crime at Michigan State, and he's pretty underrated in my opinion. He has a good shot for a big man, and he'll do dirty work inside for a number of NBA teams with his 245-pound frame. He's only 6'8", but he plays bigger than that, and he could have a similar impact as Kevon Looney, but he has a better shot, so I like him a lot. My 33rd player, Jordan Nwora, Louisville. He's a small forward or a power forward, depending on where you want to have him. He's another solid upperclassman. He brings skills that are valuable in today's NBA. He was the go-to player on a top 15 Louisville team last year, and he averaged 18-8, and he shot over 40% from three, which is really big. He's 6'7", so he's pretty tall, but he lacks athleticism or playmaking, but he should play a role in the NBA. All right. If I redid this, I'd probably have him in the 40s, but Killian Tilly, Gonzaga power forward. He is another really good shooter that I believe will be an impactful player in the NBA. He had restricted minutes last year, but still averaged 13 points a game and shot over 40% from three for all 4 years that he was at Gonzaga. His ability to space the floor at 6'10" is a huge plus, and it offsets some of his playmaking and defensive issues for me. But his main issue is that he is pretty injury prone. I think if he stays healthy, he should be a pretty good player in the NBA. All right. 35 is Jared Butler. We talked about him earlier, but he had a great year at Butler, leading them to a top 5 ranking. He was really good on defense, and he could handle the ball. Had almost 2 steals a game and shot 38% from three, which is pretty good. And it was all in a good Big 12 conference. He's strong at 6'3" and 190, and did all the little things in college that should give him a role in the NBA. All right. 36 is Tyler Bay, who I didn't know much about before this, but he's getting buzz as a possible late first rounder. He's a little short at 6'7" for a power forward, but he's a good shooter, and he's pretty athletic. He won the Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year last year, so he can make up for his lack of size with defense and athleticism. He needs to get drafted by the right team to excel, in my opinion, because he wasn't a great scorer on a kind of weak Colorado team, so that's why I have him in the second round. Number 37, I don't know how to say Jahmi'us Ramsey.
Jahmi'us Ramsey, yeah.
So on a lot of boards, he's a top 30 pick, but he's really physical at 6'4" and 195, and he has the tools for the next level. He shot 43% from three last year on a defensive-oriented Texas Tech team, so if he plays for a more up-tempo style, he could probably have scored even more. He is explosive. He has real blow-by ability if you watch his highlights, and he can create his own shot, but he's not a great decision-maker with the ball. He only shot 44% from the field, and he averaged more turnovers than assists, which is why I have him all the way down here. I think he needs to play a lot smarter in the NBA. Okay. Number 38 is a guy I have seen a lot of, Daniel Oturu, a Minnesota center. He was a force last year. He had 20 and 11 with 2.5 blocks a game.
Huge fan of Daniel Torres.
I know you are. You had him really high.
Had him top 25, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's definitely could be really good. He showed decent touch outside. He averaged 70% on free throws and 37% on threes. But what concerns me is his lack of size relatively. He's a little thin, and playmaking. I could still see him being a pretty good NBA player. All right, 39 is Malachi Flynn. So he's another great story from last year. He led San Diego State to a top 5 ranking from out of nowhere. averaged 18, 5, and 2 steals a game on pretty average shooting numbers. He hit a lot of clutch shots, was a consistent go-to player in the clutch for San Diego State, and he played with toughness on both sides of the ball. He is a little bit short. He's only 6'1", and he's probably peaked athletically, and he also lacks an elite skill, but his success in college was not a coincidence. He should be a useful NBA player. All right, 40, Skylar Mays, LSU shooting guard. So I think he could be plugged into an NBA rotation today and not miss much of a beat. He played at LSU for 4 years, and he improved a lot over them. He averaged 17 points a game in his senior year on 50% shooting and 39% from three. He's really physical guard. I don't know exactly what he weighs, but he's like 6'4" and 200, and he's good on defense, and he plays smart. He's not too explosive, isn't a great playmaker, and is near his physical peak, but his peak is NBA ready. My 41st player is Vernon Carey Jr., a Duke center. He's another physical center. He's similar to Udoka Azubuike at 6'10" and 270 pounds. He was a machine in college, but he's a little outdated for me. He only attempted 23s last year and didn't show a lot of playmaking. That, combined with a lack of athleticism and height, makes me question his value in today's league. I know I had Udoka higher, but I think Udoka does what Vernon Carey does, and he's better at it. So that's why I have Vernon Carey at 41.
I had Vernon Carey top 20.
Yeah, you had him.
I still think he's going to be a big time NBA
We'll see who's
player.
right about him.
He was a top 5 player in his high school basketball class. Did a lot in college, but I get what you're saying, but I still think that'll transfer over.
We'll see. It could transfer. I could be wrong here. All right, 42, Peyton Pritchard, an Oregon point guard. He's a classic Bulldog guard. He racked up awards at Oregon, won Pac-12 Player of the Year in 2020, and was a first-team All-American. Stayed all 4 years at Oregon, and as a freshman, he was the starting point guard on the team that made the Final Four. And over his 4 years, he improved a lot. He has a great competitive fire and is also a very good outside shooter at 41% from three. So I could see him being a key bench player in the NBA if he works on his defense. He is a little short and he's a little unathletic. 43, Devon Dotson at Kansas point guard. I have him and Peyton Pritchard very similar. He was on his way to maybe leading Kansas to an NCAA title before the suspension of the season. And there's a lot to like about his game. Very quick and he's smart with the ball. He's physical and he's agile finishing at the rim. But he's a little short. He's 6'2", and he shot under 30% from three at Kansas, which is the main differentiator between him and Peyton Pritchard. He's just not a great shooter. He's also not a great playmaker, which I think will hurt him in the NBA because those are important skills for an NBA point guard at this point. So, all right. Brett, how do you feel about Devon Dotson? I think you had him higher than I do.
No, I think I had him in a similar spot.
Oh, you had him? Okay.
I think he was top 45. I think he was right around here.
Okay.
Basically what you said. I think we think very similarly on him.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to 44. It's Cassius Stanley, a Duke shooting guard. He had a lot of hype in high school. He 1v1 Jesser. He's one of the most exciting athletes in this draft. He's amazing above the rim. He'll make dunks that will ignite the crowd, and he has an NBA body at 6'6" and 195. He's just not a great offensive player. He doesn't create his own shot very well and doesn't distribute the ball at all. He only averaged about an assist a game at Duke. He's also still working on his jump shot, so I think he's a little bit of a project, but he does have the stuff that could make him a good player. All right. Grant Riller, College of Charleston point guard, is my 45th player. He's another one. There's a lot of point guards in this draft, and he's another one. He put up great numbers in college against kind of weak competition, averaging 22, 5, and 4 on 50% shooting from the field. He's good in transition, and he can put up his shot against anyone, but I worry about how he'll adjust in the NBA because he was playing really weak competition, and he averaged over 3 turnovers a game last season. So I'm a little concerned about that, but he's still.
I didn't have him in my top 65, top 70.
Oh, you didn't have Grant Riller that high?
Yeah, 3 turnovers in a.
I know, I agree.
As a senior, there's no way that's gonna make even a G League presence for me. I think he's very overrated. One of the most overrated players in this draft.
I liked his tape. But I didn't love the turnovers, and I also think the weak competition hurts him, which is why I had him down here. This is lower than a lot of sites have him.
Yeah, CBS had him top 40. ESPN had him top 40 as well.
Yeah. So, all right, moving down. Yeah, I could see him struggling, but I also could see him being good. So we'll go to 46. Robert Woodard, Mississippi State small forward. He's one of the stronger defenders in this draft. He's 6'7" and 230 pounds with long arms and quick feet, so he can guard 4 positions if needed. He shot 43% on threes last year, although it was only 71 attempts. And he's not much of a playmaker or scorer, but he should be a useful defender. And he's kind of like a 3-and-D small forward, which I don't love his game, but I do think he could carve out a role in the NBA. I don't know if you had him in your top 60, but
I did not.
so another guy you didn't have in
He
your
was
top
right outside. He was right outside.
47, Corey Kispert, a Gonzaga small forward. I wasn't impressed with Corey Kispert when I watched them play Michigan, I will say that. But I watched his tape and I was more impressed. So he steadily improved under Mark Few at Gonzaga. He broke out a bit last year. He put up 14 points a game. He's not that athletic, but he plays smart and he gets inside craftily. But his biggest positive is his great shooting ability. He shot 43% from 3 last year on a lot of shots. And he has a size 6'7" and good form to get a shot off in the NBA. He profiles to me as a catch-and-shoot player in the NBA, kind of like a lot of these guys like Duncan Robinson, Kyle Korver, one of those type players. So 48, Paul Reed, a DePaul power forward, who I did not know much about going into this, but I looked into him. He's a really good just size. He's 6'9", he's 220 pounds, and he's athletic and he's long. He averaged more than 2 blocks a game at DePaul and 15 and 11. He was also efficient. He shot 50% from the field, and he averaged 73% from the free throw line, which is like good to see. But he's a little lazy on defense, and he averaged 3 fouls a game and also more than 2 turnovers a game, which isn't great for a power forward. So I needed to see him do a little better there, and he also needs to develop a better three-pointer. All right. You had Paul Reed somewhere around here too.
Yeah, I had him a little bit lower. I think he should have been up here though. I had him. I think 58 should have been in the 40s, if not 30s.
All right. Well, yeah, I think I had him. I think I agree with where I put him. So 49 is John Petty Jr., an Alabama shooting guard. I really like John Petty's game for the NBA. He has good length for the shooting guard position. He's 6'6", and he has long arms. And when I was watching his highlights, I saw that he has a really smooth-looking shot, and he averaged 44% from 3 last year with really deep range. He also grabbed 7 rebounds a game, which is really good for a 2. And he has the potential to be good or average on defense with his frame and speed. He isn't there yet and needs to gain some strength. He's only like 180 pounds. But he has what it takes, length and accuracy, to be good in the NBA, which I look for that when I look for prospects. So you did not have him in your top 60 again.
I did not. No. He was close. I definitely preferred
some other guys.
Oh, some other guys. Who's the other Alabama guy? I'm forgetting his name now.
Kira Lewis.
Kira Lewis. I definitely prefer Kira Lewis.
I prefer Kira Lewis too. I just thought John Petty was good enough to put in the top 60.
Yeah, he just.
So let's go to 50. 50 is Caleb Wesson, Ohio State center. He is a unique center. He is really a great shooter. He's shooting 43% from 3, and he has super soft touch just with all of his shots. He plays more like a guard, but he's a center. But he's only 6'9", and he weighs a really not muscular 270 pounds, which I think diminishes some of his athleticism.
He lost a lot of weight, though. He was
that's good.
300s.
If he keeps losing weight, if he does like a program to get fit, maybe loses 10 pounds and puts on some muscle, and if he stays in college this year, I don't know what he decided. I think he might have gone pro, but I thought that if he would stay in college his senior year, he could have been a first-round talent next year.
I think he should get as well, yeah.
But I think he might have declared. So this is where I put him if he declared 50. He definitely could be good, but he's a little thick still. All right, 51. I had to include him because everyone loves him. He's a top 20 player on most sites. So 51, Leandro Balmaro. He's a point guard, plays for Barcelona's first and second team. I think he's a draft and stash type player. He's only 19, but he's 6'7", which is huge for a point guard. He showed off really good playmaking last year for Barcelona, and he made a lot of nice passes, but he didn't play a lot on the first team. He was really more of a second team player, which isn't the greatest level of competition. So when he was on the top team, he didn't play that much. He averaged like 4 points and 2 assists, which isn't great stats. So I think he should stay in Barcelona for a few more years before he comes to the U.S. And you didn't have him in your top 60 again.
I didn't. I made a little honorable mentions page, and he was there, but I don't know how he's a top 30 prospect. Watching his tape, I don't know. He's nowhere near athletic enough to be in the league. Doesn't shoot it absolutely amazing, and he's playing in a lower tier league in Barcelona. I'm not a huge fan.
I'm also not a huge fan, but I had to put him up here. All right. 52, Ashton Higgins, the third of the Kentucky guards in this draft class. He was a crucial piece to John Calipari's Kentucky teams in his 2 years at Lexington. He's a tenacious defender. He has good vision for a point guard, but he had to split a lot of his time with Maxey and Quickly, and he still averaged 11 and 6 a game. His size is there at 6'3" and 200 pounds, and he has a decent slashing ability. But his huge flaw is a complete lack of outside shooting. He only shot 25% from 3 last year, only made 16 threes on the year, and he has a weird motion. I think if that keeps up, he's just not going to be able to be played in the NBA. You've got to be able to shoot a little bit. So that's why I have him down here. All right. 53 is Elijah Hughes, a Syracuse shooting guard / small forward. He was kind of a bright spot for a pretty poor Syracuse team last year. He averaged 19 a game along with 5 rebounds and 3 assists. He can get off his shot. He has decent size. He's 6'6" and 215. But he needs to work on his efficiency. He only shot 42% from the field and 34% from 3, although his shot form is good. He still has things to improve, but should be a mid-second round pick. I don't know where did you have Elijah Hughes? You had him.
I had him near here.
Okay. All right. 54. I really didn't want to put him on my list. So Jaden McDaniels, a Washington power forward. He's 6'10", and he has an 8'11" standing reach. He's very athletic. That's why I put him on here. But his stats are just disappointing. In 31 minutes a game on Washington, as one of their go-to players, he averaged 13 points and 5 rebounds as a power forward and had the most turnovers and fouls in the Pac-12. He shot a dismal 40% from the field and 33% of threes, which isn't that bad. And his jumper is smooth. But if he wasn't so highly rated coming out of high school, I don't think he'd be a first-round prospect. His stats are just really not good. And you didn't put him in your first round either, so I think we kind of agreed on him. All right. 55, Reggie Perry, a Mississippi State center. You had him in your first round.
Yeah, that hindsight's 2020. That was a little bit stupid. I would have had him probably a little bit higher than this. Probably top 45 if I were to do it again. Maybe top 40, but yeah, that was a little stupid.
So Reggie Perry, I like Reggie Perry. He was the leader of an all-right Mississippi State team. He averaged really good stats. He had 17 points and 10 rebounds a game and a block and a half around a game as well. He's a tank. He's 6'9", but he's 250 pounds. But he sometimes disappears from games. That's what I've heard about him. He doesn't always show good shot selection. And he's not super tall and he's not super fast, so he could be a liability on defense in the NBA. But I like him in the second round because of his physicality, and he has potential to be a stretch 5. He shot 32% from 3, but 77% from the line, so he could get there. But I didn't love him, so he's 55 for me. All right, 56, Nick Richards, a Kentucky center. He's a rare 3-year Kentucky player. He was smart, in my opinion, to stay and improved as a result. He averaged 14 and 8 a game while sharing minutes with other Kentucky centers like E.J. Montgomery. He has good height at 7 feet tall, and he's strong at 247 pounds, and he's smart. So he impacts the game without always scoring, but he doesn't have a high ceiling at all. So what he is now is good enough to merit this type of draft pick around the 50s, I'd say. All right, 57.
This is low. This is really, really low.
All right. I don't think
I'm a big fan of Jay Scrubs, but
I just can't, man. He played JUCO. He took advantage of JUCO competition, put up 22 points a game on really good shooting, although not great 3-point shooting. It was like 35%. He has good size at 6'6" and pretty impressive highlights, but it remains to be seen how much he will adjust at a much higher level of play. I would want to see him in the G League initially. I would not get him right to the NBA, but he clearly has good ability. I just can't put him that much higher. He's a JUCO player. I know he looks good, but we'll see. And you had him much higher, so
yeah, I definitely had him much higher.
We'll see. I might be wrong about him. All right, 58. Sam Merrill, a Utah State shooting guard. He's one of the oldest players in the draft. He's 24, and he doesn't have the same upside as other top 100 guys, but he was a highly successful college player who was a 50, 40, 90 threat and averaged 20 points a game for his junior and senior seasons, and he led Utah State to the NCAA tournament both years. He is shooting
What do you mean
ability.
by 50, 40, 90 threat?
Like 50% from 2, 40% from 3, 90% from the line. That's
yeah.
That's what his stats were near all 4 years he was at Utah State. He's just a really good shooter.
Impressive stats, but he played in the Mountain West Conference.
Yeah, he played in the Mountain West, but he was he was one of the best players in the Mountain West. He hit a clutch shot in the Mountain West title game
I remember that.
Yeah, that was a huge shot. And I could see him as a spark off a team's bench. There's a guy in Toronto who's similar. I can't remember his name right now, but so yeah, I think I don't know if he'll get drafted. I doubt he gets drafted, but I like to see him in the summer league this year, or if there's a summer league, I don't even know. All right, 59.
Maybe a fall league.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, just I would like to see him as an undrafted player on a roster. All right, 59. Ayo, Illinois point guard. He's pretty well known around here. He was the main reason why Illinois surprised the Big Ten and was on course to be a top 6 seed in the NCAA tournament for the first time in a while. He's a shifty point guard and has good height at 6'5" and decent tools, but he's not a great shooter. He shot under 30% from 3 with a slow motion and didn't distribute the ball as much as someone should as a point guard. He only averaged 3 assists a game. I think he should have taken another year in college, but he's gone pro.
Yes, I do as well.
He'll be a second-round pick, I bet, but I think he really should have gone one more year. All right, and this is kind of just loyalty. I don't really think Isaiah Livers is the 60th best player, but I wanted to talk about him a little bit. He's one of the most underrated players in college. When he played, Michigan was a dominant team. He has many skills that can be valuable at the next level. A knockdown shooter from mid-range and from outside. He shot over 40% from 3. He was known for highlight reel dunks, which was impressive for a player of his bulk at 6'7" and 230 pounds. He also was a 95% free throw shooter last year, so he can really get it done from the line. He's not quick. He has good physicality and instincts. And I would love to see a team draft him in the second round, but I doubt it will happen. But I do think he could be a good undrafted player, so we'll see what happens with him. And I had a few honorable mentions at the end. Miles Powell, Marcus Howard, 2 of the Big East, just greatest players of all time. And Isaiah Joe and Abdoulaye Ndoye, who Brad had in the first round.
I don't think he should have had the first round. I think Brad got it, but I definitely think he deserves to get drafted in the top 50. I really think he's a good player.
I gave him the honorable mention along with Isaiah. I was considering putting Isaiah Joe at 60.
Yeah.
I just put Isaiah Livers there because I wanted to talk
about
it. I had
Isaiah Joe right in the 50 to 60 range.
Yeah, and I think I would as well. Even maybe Abdoulaye Ndoye I could put in the 50 to 60 range after I looked into him a little bit. But that is my top 60. took a little bit of time to make. It was hard to differentiate between some of the guys at the end, but we'll see
I like
how it
the
goes.
end. The end was the best, in my opinion. But if you go back and do it, you'll definitely change some things. I would definitely. There, like a guy like Reggie Perry, Abdullah Ndoye, the shooting guard. What's his name from Arkansas?
Mason Jones.
Mason Jones. Like those three guys would not have been first rounders. They would have been second rounders. So I definitely going back on it. I could definitely change some things. But the NBA draft, mock draft is coming up next. We'll probably.
Are we gonna wait for the lottery? When's the lottery?
It's August 25th.
So we can't wait for the lottery to do some months. Okay. Well, we'll just go with. I guess
we'll go with the order. Well, I guess we'll go with the order that we currently have.
So the Warriors at 1, and then going down the list. Okay.
Which I mean, makes the top 3 picks kind of known: James Wiseman, Anthony Edwards, then LaMelo Ball. But regardless, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting. Good solid podcast. Just broke the 26-minute mark. Ben, having you on. Hopefully, if we have another mock draft, it'll probably take a week, maybe a week and a half for the next episode. But
Brad, you'll probably do the first one, right?
I will probably do the first one. Yes, we'll keep on this order. 1 through 30 years, 1 through 30, 31 through 60, 31 through 60 of years.
All right.
Episodes in the near future, and like we said in the last episode, once we get those 4 episodes done, sports will probably be back and be back covering.
The NBA might be back at that, but we'll see.
Yes. Well, we've never actually had the podcast with live sports.
That'll be more exciting for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, Ben.
I think once the NBA gets back,
another good episode and go Wildcats, go Villanova.
Go Blue.
All right.
See you, Brad.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.